Eyecare Institute on Story Avenue is an iconic building, and now they are doing clinical trials. It's their newest division. It is called the Butchertown Clinical Trials, and with us now is Mark Prussian. He is the CEO of the Eyecare Institute. Welcome back, Mark.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me here today, and always you're so well dressed. The man with 1,000 pocket squares, John Ramsey.
Okay, you got me. You threw me off a little bit here. All right, back to the subject at hand, which is clinical trials. The Butchertown Clinical Trials has now existed for quite some time.
Yes, it has.
Let's talk a little bit about, for folks who are not aware or don't have a firm grasp of what is a clinical trial.
Thanks, John. A clinical trial is a scientific test that's usually performed in a doctor's office or in a hospital, usually by physicians, where we follow researchers' programs in order to determine whether a new treatment or surgery or drug works better than what's existing, or better than nothing at all, or better than a placebo.
So when I think about a clinical trial, I'm always thinking about some kind of life-saving treatment. Are clinical trials life-saving treatments?
So that's a really good question. Here in Louisville, Kentucky, although plenty of life-saving clinical trials are done, we at Butchertown Clinical Trials also do more traditional things. For instance, almost every time you've picked up a prescription at a drugstore or pharmacy for anything from an allergy to an antibiotic to eye drops, they have all gone through the clinical trials process. And those are the sorts of things that we do here. Every day, more than 3 million people around the world are involved in clinical trials as patients. It is safe, it is effective, and it's how we prove that new treatments work.
The Eyecare Institute has been, taking care of folks here in the area for years, and it is an iconic building, absolutely beautiful. So, how did the Butchertown Clinical Trials start? Give us a little bit of a little bit of history and how it all began.
Okay, so we started by doing one clinical trial once, and as time evolved, we got to be very good at it. We now have completed over 300 clinical trials. Although most of the trials involve eye care and ophthalmology, we do have a family practice doctor with us. She recently completed an artificial intelligence trial, and she's getting ready to start a clinical trial for pregnant females using a urinalysis. But let me just tell you about one of the results of one of the trials that we've done here. Okay, so since I was last on your show, this was approved by the FDA. This is Tyrvaya. This is the first nasal spray for signs and symptoms of dry eye disease, which can be either cause blurry vision or sometimes it's painful. So when you think of treating eyes, you either think of surgery in the operating room or perhaps surgery in the laser or by laser, or you think of eye drops. You don't think of a nasal spray. So here is really interesting technology, done clinical trials style here in Louisville, Kentucky. But interestingly, the original scientist who first thought of the concept of using a nasal spray was born and raised in Louisville and lives in California now. So local ties, locally done, worldwide clinical availability in pharmacies within the last 10 days or so.
So you've got to feel good about that, and if you participated in that clinical trial, you can say, look, I'm part of medical history. This is new technology. It's been approved by the FDA, and I was a part of it. So that's part of the reward of being part of a clinical trial, right?
That is really true. So many people suffer through various health care issues. To some, pain and suffering is mild to moderate, and others it's serious. So here's something you can say to your friends. I was in this clinical trial in Louisville, Kentucky, and other people are not in pain now because of this nasal spray for an eye disease.
Wow, it's pretty amazing. So what is the new emphasis right now? Is there a new clinical trial, or is there something maybe our viewers can get involved in?
Indeed there is. The concept of reading glasses being replaced by eye drops is the biggest thing right now. In fact, the FDA just approved Vuity, a new drop from Allergan AbbVie, for which the product hasn't come out yet, but it will be out in about 2 weeks in pharmacies everywhere, where you take an eye drop instead of wearing, the half-eye readers or reading glasses for near and for distance. But all the other pharmaceutical companies are getting in line and trying to improve upon this, and that's where we come in with more clinical trials.
Well, this is interesting. So you mean that you could actually, perhaps, if it gets approved and everything goes well, you could be involved in a clinical trial where eye drops improve your vision?
Exactly. So what was just on the screen, Vuity, was approved 2 weeks ago, and it is shipping now. We might even have it in stock this week. So yes, those eye drops replace reading glasses. So what we're working on right now is the 6 other pharmaceutical companies that want to have it either last longer than the current 6 hours from this product, or perhaps there's a bitter aftertaste with this because your eyes, your nose, and your throat are all connected. So it's always about, in science, making the treatment better. So we need a lot of people to help us with these reading glasses trials to make things better.
Okay, Mark, we talked about the advantage of being a part of medical history, which is certainly significant, but what other advantages for people who want to be involved in a clinical trial? It's good for them too. What are the advantages for them?
It's really good to participate in a trial. First of all, the patient always receives the medical care, including the drug, device, or treatment for free. Secondly, the patient always gets paid for participating in a clinical trial. And third, you help advance science and you help humankind. You help other people.
Wow, I love the fact that the Eyecare Institute is doing these clinical trials, because it really, to me, is another reason to puff out your chest, be proud that you're from Louisville, because of this technology that will change people's lives for the better, and you can be involved in it. So if someone is listening to this, it sounds good. They can get paid. They can be part of medical history, all of the above. How do they get involved?
To get involved, we first of all are looking for people right now who generally need reading glasses to read with. They can also have distance to see far, but at least from here to here need some help reading. So that's first of all. They need to be generally healthy and also generally free of other eye diseases like glaucoma or diabetic eye disease, for instance. So if someone's interested, they can go to butchertown.clinic to register, or call us at 502-219-7700. 502-219-7700.
Or butchertown.clinic.
Yes, butchertown.clinic.
Wow, this is interesting stuff. For you, I'm curious. Your practice has been very, very successful. For you, what was the emphasis? Why did you decide, I want to get involved in clinical trials? Is it because you said, I think there are voids to be filled and I can help with this? Or is it your techie side where you said, hey, I want, this is kind of cool. This is cutting edge. I want to be a part of that.
So that's a really good question. Why did we do it? And the answer is there are so many different conditions, injuries, and illnesses that remain untreatable. It was natural with a practice as big as ours to try to help other people. So we're using the resources we have to participate in helping find and prove that new treatments are safe.
Okay, the Eyecare Institute, once again, and I don't mean to be repetitive, but this is exciting stuff, and maybe you want to get involved. As you said, you'll be paid for your time. You're part of medical history. You're going to get the care for free. All these advantages. One more time, where do they go?
Butchertown.clinic or 502-219-7700.
Thank you, Mark Prussian. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, coming up here, Sesame Street is on the way. There's that information once again. Sesame Street is on the way. We'll talk more.